Hey y'all, Jaybird challenge number 12 today. Rolling right along with my challenge videos. I kind of worked a short day at work today. I wrapped up this show I've been on all week long. And got off about 11, drove over to the Union Hall, dropped off some paperwork, picked up my paycheck. And as with most days when I'm working, uh, I never know what kind of a video I'm going to put up at the end of the day. I mean, it's hard to come up with a good idea of what I'm going to talk about if I don't have a little extra time to sit and think about it. So I was driving back from the Union Hall. I'm like, what the hell am I going to talk about in my video? And all of a sudden, up in the far lane, here comes a row of motorcycles. Big long group of like 20 motorcycles. I'm like, oh, I'll talk about motorcycles today. That's a great idea because I love bikes. And it was a nice collection of motorcycles that passed me. Of course, I slowed down to let them go by so I could take a look at everything that was in the pack. And they had a nice mix of bikes. There was actually like two tricycles, trikes, uh, and a third trike that was kind of a reverse trike. Instead of one wheel in the front and two in the back, it was two in the front and one in the back. It was totally orange, and that was kind of an interesting looking bike. And there was also a motorcycle with a sidecar on it, which I thought was really cool because you don't see motorcycles with sidecars very much. Normally, you got to watch some old World War II movie or something to see someone in a sidecar, but this one was a sidecar. I'm not sure exactly what brand it was. I think it might have been a BMW. It kind of went by quick, and I thought I saw, a round cylinder head sticking out on the side of the bike, which is, what Beamers usually have. Uh, but that was an interesting looking bike. And amongst the other bikes, there's a nice assortment. I mean, there were Harley Davidsons and a lot of, well, quite a few knockoff, what I call knockoff Harleys, which are like, Hondas and Kawasaki's and Suzuki's that are all styled to look like Harley Davidsons, to look more like American motorcycles. But it was an interesting little group of motorcycles that went by, and I followed them as far as I could until I had to turn off. But of course, this got me thinking about when I had a motorcycle years and years ago, and I did between the ages of like 18 and 22. I had a Kawasaki. It was a KZ440 LTD limited edition, black, really nice motorcycle. If you want to listen, look up that brand there and check out what it looks like. It's kind of low to the ground. It had great, nice curved handlebars in the front and a high tail in the back, where the seat was like a double seat, so the passenger sitting in the back can have like a backrest to lean against, which is comforting for a lot of people who ride on the back of motorcycles, so they don't have to like hang on to the person in front of them. Uh, but it was a great little bike. I got it brand new from a little Kawasaki shop in DeLand, Florida, where I was living at the time. My first motorcycle. I mean, I've been riding bikes since I was 6, and here I was 18 and finally got my first motorcycle. And it didn't take long. I mean, the salesman took me out behind the place to some roads near, where the shop was, and basically showed me the ins and outs of the motorcycle. And the thing had 2 brakes, and it was a 2-cylinder with a 5-speed. And I quickly learned that there was a handbrake in the front and a small foot brake on the side. And I quickly learned not to use that handbrake, because I almost flipped the thing over a couple of times. Coming to a quick stop in the back wheel, lifting up in the air, almost flipped me over. So I was like, I just won't use that. Just use the foot brake all the time. And I loved this motorcycle. It had a belt drive on it instead of chain and sprockets, so I could take the thing down onto the beach and drive it up and down and not worry about getting sand, in your chain and sprockets. Anybody who's got a motorcycle knows that could be a real pain in the butt to try to clean those things out. And I had it for 4 years, and I think I laid it down once. I wasn't going too fast, maybe about 25, 30 miles an hour. I laid it down on a curve where I lost it. And I tipped it over a couple of times, just being stupid. Generally, like going up hills and stuff, you get to the top of the hill and then you slow down too much, and all of a sudden, you just lay the bike right over. And I wrecked it once pretty good, but I'm not going to go into that because I think I may have told that story in another video. I tend to repeat myself when it comes to old stories. But I had that bike, and then at the time my Uncle Bob was living with me, and he had a great big Honda 1100 6-cylinder 5-speed, and that thing was massive, and he used to let me ride it while I'd let one of my buddies, Mark or Scott or somebody, ride my bike. And that Honda it was massively powerful compared to my bike. But the thing it had such a high seat on it, and when I sat on the damn thing, my feet, my tippy toes would touch on the ground on both sides, so it was really hard to keep the balance on the thing. But once you got it up and moving, it was really well balanced. It's the kind of bike you get it up to 80, 90 miles an hour and put the cruise control on and just take your hands off the steering wheel, and you could steer the bike by tilting to the left and the right, just swerve back and forth in the lane without ever touching the handlebars. No hands, Mom. Look, that was fun riding around on that thing. So just seeing all those motorcycles today brought back motorcycle memories of the past. It makes me want to go out and spend money on a new motorcycle. Maybe someday I will, if I ever have the extra money. And I'm hitting the 7-minute mark, so that's the cutoff here. So that's my little ramble about motorcycles. So if anybody's had a motorcycle that watches this, let me know. You had any weird experiences riding a motorcycle or something? Put them in the comments. Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. Video response would be great, people. Cheers.